You'd think if they're the perfect church, they'd get a prize or something, but he doesn't go that far. He says, you've done well, and they do have a promise coming. But first, there's a warning. Be prepared to suffer. Be prepared. Something is coming. And he says it will be 10 days of persecution. And maybe Jesus is meaning that to be a word of encouragement that God is not the source of pain. He referred to this synagogue of Satan, this community of Satan. And yet the 10 days would help us to know that power of Satan is limited on this world. The most obvious meaning of the 10 days is a comparison. There's 7 years of the Great Tribulation, but your tribulation is going to be 10 days. Comparison to the 1,000-year reign of peace that is yet to come. You're going to suffer a very brief time. Again, there's a limit to Satan's reign of terror. And the promise that they get then is if you actually give your life for me, you're going to receive a crown of life. As Megan alluded to with the children, Smyrna, all of these letters, each of these 7 letters taps something of the local context, ties in some way historically with something very specific for the people getting the letter. Smyrna hosted Olympics games. They hosted athletic games, tournaments. And a crown, a victory wreath, would have been their trophy for being a champion and participating in one of the games. And Jesus was promising to these believers, and I think to all who faithfully walk through their lives faithful to Christ, that no matter how the end comes for you, you'll receive that victory prize. That death is not a defeat. And that's where the letter is trying to encourage and to turn that around and say, if you sacrifice your life, if death comes to you, you're going to receive one of these crowns that you see passed out at the games every weekend. A crown of life, a crown that represents eternal life. And that's the victory that Jesus is naming for this church. Jesus in the Gospels said, we are all invited to take up our cross, to deny ourselves, and follow him. These Christians were living that out in a very real way. Would you pray with me?